so let's do this interview.
All right.
So Glen Cook, it's been 40 years now that you deal with the characters of the Black Company. You know them by heart. What's your relationship with them?
Relationship. Can you put the question another way?
Yeah, how do you consider them? Maybe like, very often the writers say that they consider the characters like their children in a way.
Oh, they're...
Because you know them so well.
I know them, yes, I know them very well. They're like people in my life, as real to me as many of the people that I deal with on a daily basis. Yes, that's true.
Just like your neighbors or children?
Well, I wouldn't want most of them to be my neighbors. But
I guess so.
Most of them are not really pleasant people, although they're honest people, sort of. If you know them, you know you can predict what they're going to do, even if it's not very pleasant. So yes, I know them quite well.
And all the characters from the other series, how do you feel toward them? Do you know them just as well? Or?
In my Garrett detective series, yes, I know them probably even better than the Black Company people. I've lived with them longer and through more books, and that's a smaller cast of characters. So
you get to know them
I know them extremely well. Maybe even better than I know some of my friends.
Already? Well, I guess because you can exactly know what they feel and what they think, like your friends.
Yes, because I am also their God, so to speak. So I can look inside them and see what their motives are and what they're thinking and feeling about a given thing.
And looking back, what's your feeling about your whole career? That long career.
It's been enjoyable. It's, you know, at least in my own country, I'm a modest-sized fish in a very small pond, but I have nothing that I can complain about or anything. I've enjoyed myself. I've done what I wanted to do. I've never had to write anything that I did not want to write. I've never needed to write just to make money or something, which is something that has happened to a number of very talented writers in America. They've decided that they're going to be full-time writers and discovered that being a full-time writer generally doesn't pay the rent and keep a roof over your head and buy groceries. And so they've had to write a lot of stuff that they really would rather not put their talents to. I always worked for another company. I worked for a company and did my writing as a hobby, really, even though I was writing a couple books a year. It was not what I did for a living and how I supported my family or anything. And once my children start getting old enough to be out on their own, then I reached a point in my career where I could have actually have supported them and whatnot. It's kind of amusing that way. But now, now that I'm old and retired, and my children are all grown up and out of the house and have families of their own and whatnot, now I could afford to, now I do well enough that I could support a family and whatnot on what I do in writing.
And did you ever have difficulties, dealing with your writing career and with your professional career?
No, my work career always took precedence simply because it had to, on a couple occasions I had little minor squabbles with my bosses because I wanted to go do a public appearance or something, and they would rather that I came to work. But only a couple of times in 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about the deadlines that you might sometime have to.
I never had a problem with deadlines. First of all, most of the books that I've written, I guess, on what other Americans call speculation. I write the book and my agent finds somebody to publish it. But even where I've had contracts, I've never had a deadline that I couldn't meet by many months ahead. You know, I would turn the book in way well before there was any deadline. I've never been subject to any deadline pressure, so I don't know how I would deal with that if I had it. Probably do what I needed to do to meet it. That's my personality or my character.
And I heard also that you like the 100 Years' War? That you like the 100 Years' War?
I don't like it. I mean, it was a pretty miserable time in the history of France, certainly.
But can you tell us more about it? Is it a passion? Is it just for your researches?
It's just a very interesting period of time in European history, and a lot of particular, well, because my family history and stuff is English, particularly on the English side, there's a lot of interesting characters, the kings and princes and whatnot, that were involved in some of the situations that arose during the conflict. It's just very intriguing. There are other periods in time in other countries that are equally intriguing to me, but I think just because the 100 Years' War is accessible to me, I can understand the people and their motives and whatnot better than I can some other periods of time. I have always been very interested in it. So.
And did you do any historical research for Garrett?
I don't do historical research for anything. I have an ironclad rule that I have to read at least 50 pages of something every day. And it can be anything from girls' romance novels to, I don't know, a physics book if I can make my way through it. But I have to read something every day, and it all goes in, and at some point, some of it will come back out as part of a story. But I don't go looking for specific things very often. Not too long ago, I wanted to find out about the difference in sea levels in the Caspian Sea over a period of time, and that's something I actually went and researched, but normally would not look up anything. And of course, when you try to go on the internet and research something like that, you find that there's over 2 million websites dedicated to the Caspian Sea, and then you have to figure out where to go to.
And that can be a time eater.
Yes, it can.
Definitely. And by the way, you don't have any blog?
No,
do you?
no,
You don't?
I am technologically making my way into about the 1840s as far as computers go. I can't even, I'm trying to email my wife the night before last, and I couldn't figure out how to get on the internet to do it. At my hotel over there, even with the help of the desk man, we never did get the connection.
So maybe the festival, the conventions like that are a good way to communicate with your fans?
I don't communicate. Well,
or just, to communicate?
At conventions, yes, I see my fans and talk to them and try to be as accessible as possible, be out and talk to people. Sometimes some of them make me very uncomfortable. The ones that are especially passionate about my work, they kind of scare me because I can't take it as seriously as many of my fans do. So.
Did some of them dress up like your characters? Because
Yes,
sometimes
yes, occasionally. My favorite, I have a character named Soul Catcher in the Black Company books, who's a very attractive woman who tends to wear very tight black leather, and I always enjoy seeing that costume.
I guess.
I was guest of honor at a convention in Denver, Colorado just a couple of weeks ago, and there was a very attractive young lady that was dressed up as Soul Catcher that was catching not only my eye but everyone else at the convention. She was gorgeous.
By the way, you did some conventions in the US. You
I
did
do.
some in Europe too. Can you see any differences between?
Well, this is the only convention I've ever been to in Europe. This is only the second
Okay.
time in my life that I have been to Europe. The biggest reason that I have never been here is I just hate flying.
Oh, really?
Hate the long travel
Mm.
across the Atlantic. So I usually find excuses. I've found excuses, I think, for the last 6 or 7 years not to come here. They've been after me many, many years to come to this one. Yes, there are huge differences between what I see here, although I'm told that Utopialis is not typical of a European convention. It's more highbrow, I guess,
Mm.
than the usual. But overall, the population of people attending here are dramatically different than the ones you would find at an American
Mhm.
convention. I'm just amazed, for instance, that there are so many young and very attractive women here. In fact, young people in general, at American conventions, there are probably not more than 10% of the people would be under 25. And
Mm.
the majority would probably be over 40 years old. So it's an aging, ongoing, it's the same. These people were fans when they were 15, and they're the same people that were fans and attending the conventions, now 30 years later. The majority of the population is just an ongoing same group of people rather than much new. The younger people, at least to my experience, are more interested in anime conventions and things of that sort, things that interest the younger people today, the gaming and internet and all that kind of stuff, rather than the literary aspects of fantasy and science fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Hmm?
Yeah, I also heard that in the US conventions, people do dress up very often. Much more than here.
Quite often, yes. I've only seen maybe and I would call it cosplay because it's just dress up as Japanese or anime characters, or one French maid, which is very much anime sort of thing. Every anime made in Japan has somebody in a French maid costume in it somewhere. I've only seen, I think, 2 or maybe 3 costumes here, whereas at an American convention,
Yeah,
most of the younger ladies would be in some sort of costume. And many of the younger men, too. The older people tend to just dress about like I'm dressed, In fact, I'm dressed up fancy today. I have a dress shirt on and a pair of dress pants to go with my dress tennies.
Because you're going to see much more cosplay tonight. There's going to be a cosplay contest.
Ah, good then.
It's going to feel like home. And as a conclusion, what are your long-term plans?
Stay alive as long as I can, I guess. Long-term plan. Oh, you mean career-wise or writing-wise?
Writing-wise.
Let's see. Right now I'm working on, I think it's the 14th book in my Garrett Detective series. It's right here beside me, the current pages I'm working on. Carry it around with me all the time. When I have nothing to do for 10 minutes, I sit down and I work on it. I would not be doing that at an American convention, because if I had free time at an American convention, I'd take my own Blu-ray player along with me and I watch anime or something or other in my room. I am a very large anime fan. I will be finishing that up, and then I should finish that up before the end of the year. And then I will be finishing up the 4th book in my Instrumentalities of the Night series. The 3rd book just came out. Well, they brought it out, brought copies in early for the convention, or for Utopiales. After that, I will be finishing, it's already been started, and a couple of pieces of it published in anthologies in America. A new Black Company novel, which will be set between the 1st and the 2nd of books that have already been published. After that, I will probably do another Black Company novel set after all of the other ones that have already been published. And beyond that, almost certainly we'll have to do, not have to do, but will do another Garrett book, because my editor of that series always wants me to do another one. She likes them a great deal, and they apparently sell enough to keep her in a job, so.
So she's interested, yeah.
So I probably, as long as I'm still above the grass, I will be doing more Garrett novels. I'm running out of medals to put in the title, but my agent teases me about using transuranic elements and stuff in a situation where all of the metals used so far have been ones that were available in, say, 1400. But beyond that point, I don't know, but I know that I will be writing probably on my deathbed, because it's just a compulsion. It's something I have to do. I do it, or would do it, and do it, even if I'm pretty sure what I'm doing is not going to sell. Just because I have to do it.
You do it anyway, even if you, yeah. Wow, you're going to be a busy man. You're going to be a very busy man.
Oh, I'm always doing something, yeah. Not nearly as much. I feel guilty many times since I've retired from my job with General Motors. I've not written nearly as much, or not written as much as I did when I was full-time employed, because there's no time pressure to budget my time or anything, and so I watch a lot of television and waste a lot of time doing stuff that is not what I consider not productive, but it still puts stuff in that eventually will come out, and yes, in a book somewhere, maybe.
Okay, well.
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
I
Thank you.
thought you'd go on much longer.